Hey guys, welcome back. Let's have a look at NEO stock. We are seeing some good news coming out of NEO stock. We're seeing some good news coming out of the company. Things are looking good on the charts. Things are looking good with the fundamentals. We're going to get to all of this in today's video. First, I must say though, remember of course I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice, but if you do enjoy these quick, short, no-nonsense update videos, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It does help me out a lot. Anyway, let's jump straight in. And I actually want to start off by we'll go to the fundamental news first. This is something speaking about weekly insurance registrations in China. Again, as you can imagine, a pretty good indication as to what cars are selling and how things are going. This information comes from the week ending September the 7th, so literally last week. We can see the numbers for NIO, the numbers for Tesla, and the numbers for Xiaomi. NIO's numbers are currently set at 6,270 vehicles registered for that week. Comparatively, Teslas are at 14,000, and Xiaomi's are 6,200. So, we are seeing that during the week from September the 1st to the 7th, week 36 of 2025, NIO recorded 6,270 insurance registrations. Now that's important because that is actually a 23.19% decrease from the previous week's 8,100 units, according to figures shared today on Weibo by multiple automotive industry observers. So you can kind of take what you will from that one, relatively good news overall. However, it is again dropping from the last week or so. For me personally, and again, this is going to be a bit more subjective, but I like to look at the more long term. The day-to-day sales and week-to-week sales to me are a little bit more sort of subjective and time dependent. I like to look at the monthlies, I like to look at the quarterlies and stuff like that. So that may or may not be relevant to you, but I think it's still worth paying attention to. At the same time, we are seeing those numbers again not that far behind Tesla's. Now again, when we look at the other auto manufacturers, we can see that their sub-brand Onvo registered 2,650 insurance registrations, which is a 27.85% decrease from the previous week. Firefly, a sub-brand, has also recorded 1,090 insurance registrations, which is again also worth noting. So NIO Inc. delivered a record 31,305 vehicles in August, comparing? Can I speak today? Comprising, right, there we go, comprising from 10,000, I can't speak, 10,525 from the NIO main brand, 16,434 from Onvo, and 4,346 from Firefly. So all in all, still worth paying attention to. At the same time, Tesla, we are seeing 14,300, which is an increase from the previous week's units. So that in itself, perhaps worth paying attention to. And Xpeng's registrations were also down by 20%. So, zooming in on those three examples, you can kind of see that it's a bit of a mixed bag. Tesla is growing quite a bit in the last week, whereas Xpeng is dropping, and so is obviously NIO. So you may take what you will from that, however I think it's still worth bringing to your attention. Now briefly coming over to the charts. Now actually today is perfect in my opinion for NIO for a number of reasons. I know a lot of people like to see these massive parabolic runs, these huge increases, and of course we all do to some degree. But what we want to see with any stock, and especially with this stock, is going to be some sustainable growth. We don't want to see these major massive jumps which just will not be able to be sustained over a long period. I want to see that growth that's going to allow us to carry the stock forward into long-term higher levels and stay there. We have seen the stock cool off a lot. When we got up to this point in the high sixes, we were certainly coming towards, if not in fact, yeah, we were in the overbought territory. Now we are coming down to a much more cooled off level on the RSI, which in itself is good. It looks like we are establishing a new support as well, around about $6. The next question is, do we get to push up again tomorrow? Because this, in my opinion, in the last 2 or 3 days, does signify relatively good consolidation. We're beginning to find a bottom. We are potentially about to, see a bounce from that. Again, to the low end, we want to see $6, maybe $5.90 hold. If we are able to hold on to that and move up to the upside, very clear levels to break above if you ask me. I think number one is 630. Difficulty there in the last few days, including today actually. Past that, we are going to be looking to simply go up to levels around 640, 645, where we're seeing similar resistance levels, again, around here as well. And then, obviously, on past that, you're looking at into the high sixes, 650, 670, 680, and then possibly onto new highs. I think a lot of people tend to freak out when we see these drops, but again, you've got to zoom out, right? If in doubt, zoom out. A couple of months ago, this was a $3.50 stock. We're now looking at a $6.50 stock, just about. What do you expect? Things are moving exactly as you would like, or at least exactly as I would like. And these small declines, as much as they may seem big, put it into context. And it's like, no, what did you expect? Things are looking still very good. I think if anything, we've got more potential to run from here. I think things are lining up very nicely. Now, of course, you may agree with that, you may not. I'll leave you to tell me in the comments what you think. Thank you for your time. Goodbye, guys. And again, if you can subscribe, it'd help me out a lot.